Hey guys, it's Alice again. So as you can see from the title, this is another university related video. So today I am talking about how university halls differs from university houses. So for those of you who don't know, I have just finished my third year. I've just moved out of my final student house and I have experienced a shared halls flat, a single living studio halls flat, and two university student houses. So I have quite the array of experience. I asked you guys for some questions because I thought it'd be easier if we did a Q&A. I can directly answer your concerns. I've got a list of questions. Hopefully this will help you out. If you have anything else that I have missed, let me know down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation and we're just going to jump straight into it. So Isabel asks, what is the best and worst thing about living in a halls flat versus a student house? For me, I really liked halls for the security of it. So I lived in Pavilion House in Lincoln and I really liked how secure it felt. I liked that I had a shop really close. I also really liked the fact that I had like my own little PO box, so I didn't have to stay in for parcels. They just went to reception and they sorted it out. I didn't really like, I don't know, it didn't feel homey. I didn't like halls because it didn't feel like a house. It felt like I was just kind of lodging in a hotel. Obviously I made my room homey and I liked it, it was fine, but now comparing them, I do prefer a house because it feels like you're a proper adult and you live in actually like a normal person, you know? Does that make sense? Probably not. In terms of a house, I really do enjoy living in a house. Like I said, I feel a bit more like an adult. I feel like I'm not just another stereotypical student. Like, you can tell it's a student house, but it felt nice to have that bit of freedom. We had a living room, we had a little garden, which was great. That's definitely a perk to having a house, especially when it's sunny. Although having a house does come with like extra chores. You've got to remember when to take the bins out. You've got to clean like random things that you never really thought about. Like if the washing machine breaks and needs like declogging, that's your job. If the drains get blocked, that's your job. But that doesn't really happen very often, and I think the perks of living in a house definitely outweigh those few weird chores that you never really thought about, because you can't just call maintenance in a house. You can get your landlord to fix it, but the general kind of day-to-day jobs, that's your job. But overall, I definitely preferred living in a house. I do think that had something to do with the fact that by then I had kind of my own little friendship group and I felt more comfortable as well. I do think that played quite a big part in that. Do you think being in halls in first year gives you an advantage when making friends? I think it definitely makes you feel more involved. So for me, it just meant that I had people to walk home with and to uni with, and knowing that we were all in halls together was quite nice. But to be honest, I am only in touch with one of my first year flatmates. So making friends in first year is a weird situation. Sometimes you'll make friends for life and it'll be great. Sometimes you just really won't get along with them and it just won't work out. To be honest, the advantage is there, but I made more friends via my course than I did via my living situation. So I don't think it makes too much of a difference. I know my friend who went to a different university, she lived in a house for first year, and although it was a different experience, she still has come out of uni with friends. And like I said, you generally make friends on your course more than you do with your housemates, because 9 times out of 10 the people on your course have something in common with you because they chose the same course. So for me, although it is helpful having halls, if you really can't get into halls, if they're full for any reason, don't overthink it, don't worry about it, because you will make friends in a different way. It's just, I don't know, yeah, I think it'll work out. Amber asks, for third year, do you think studying would have been easier in a small halls flat, 2-bed, compared to living in a house? So I generally didn't study for third year because all my work was coursework, so I didn't have to revise or anything, but obviously I had to sit on my laptop and do like my coursework. But I lived in a house of 5 for third year and it was completely fine. The likelihood of everyone being in the house at the same time is very, very low. Like, it's very rare that we were all there because we all had different jobs and different courses and different things to do and different social events. So it was actually quite a mission to get us all together in one place. So it wasn't really loud. Like, you didn't really get distracted. There was an occasion at night, maybe when, I don't know, my housemate was washing the pots at 1 o'clock in the morning. That happened the other month. And I just messaged him and told him to be quiet, and that was it. Like, I don't think I would have changed anything. If you feel more comfortable sharing a 2-bed halls flat for third year, then go for it. The only thing I'd say about halls is that it can be loud. Obviously, student houses can be loud as well. It depends whether you're on a noisy street, anything like that. But in halls, there was a lot of passing noise and passing traffic of people going out. So I definitely found that halls were a bit louder, but then again, even in my house, I'd hear like the rugby union guys going out on a Wednesday night and they'd scream all the way up the street at midnight, and that was in a house. So it just kind of, it swings and roundabouts, but I wouldn't have changed anything personally. I quite liked being in the house. I liked that a couple of us in that house were in the same situation. We were all in third year, so we kind of experienced the stress together. It wasn't really a distraction, to be honest. An anonymous person has asked, how did you deal with the chores? Did you have house meetings, or did you just do it when it needed doing? So for me personally, in our house, we kind of just did it when it needed doing. Looking back, I do wish we'd done kind of like a chores table of some sort. We did take turns for like various areas. So the upstairs bathroom was 3 of us sharing it. That's not a 3, that's a 2. 3 of us sharing it. So we all took turns in cleaning it, but we didn't have like a set time schedule to do it. So I'd definitely recommend in the first couple of weeks just sitting down and being like, look, I know this is boring, but we need to get this out of the way. When are we doing the cleaning and who's doing it? And just write it all down. You can get templates and stuff on Pinterest. But yeah, I'd recommend doing it. We never really needed a house meeting in third year. I definitely had a few house meetings in my second year house to do with cleaning and chores and people not doing their bit. But we sorted it out. So maybe like a combination of both a chores list and a house meeting, just to kind of make sure everyone's staying on top of it all. There'll always be someone that doesn't clean as well as someone else. There'll always be someone who likes to leave their pots and pans out for a couple of days, but I don't know, you just kind of got to get used to it in a student house. That's just how it is. Elsa has asked, how do you deal with paying the bills in a house if one member isn't happy to pay their equal part? So from my personal experience, my bills were included with my monthly rent. So my landlord sorted that all out for himself and that was done. But luckily for you guys, I have partnered with Glide, and Glide actually are here to solve that very problem. So actually a lot of you guys asked me the similar question to how do you sort the bills out? So Glide are actually a student bills company. They help you sort out your gas, your electric, your water, your broadband. They sort it all out for you, they set it all up, and they group all the payments into one big chunk and divide it by however many people live in your house. So it basically means you've just got one simple monthly payment and you're only responsible for your payments. So in the traditional way of doing things, there used to be one person who'd be like the mum of the house, who'd sort it out and then have to chase everyone for the bills. They are the mum of the house, they're going to sort it out for you, and they chase people up, so you aren't responsible if someone else misses a payment, for example. So yeah, they just make it a lot easier. You get one simple monthly payment, it goes out once a month, you kind of know what to expect, and you don't have the extra responsibility or have to have any awkward conversations about someone owing you money, because that's just not what you need on top of all the university stress. I'll make sure I leave the link to Glide's website down below, so if you are one of those people who's a bit worried about how to deal with bills in a shared house, Glide have all the answers for you. The customer service team is amazing. I met them all. I went to their office. I'm very happy to be partnering with them because I know you guys will benefit from what they do. So yeah, check out their link if you are concerned, and hopefully they can help you out. So moving on from that, Nadine actually has asked which was the most expensive. I feel like this probably differs depending on where you live, what price houses are, things like that. But for me, halls was definitely more expensive, like ridiculously more expensive, and that is the general kind of gist of it. Generally, student halls are more expensive than the house. wherever you go in the country. So even though you do have to factor in the additional thing of bills, it usually works out cheaper anyway, especially when you do something like using Glide, making sure it's a similar amount every month. It's just cheaper living in a house. I don't know why. Maybe you're paying for the name of a student halls thing. I don't know, but my rent in my student houses was £40 cheaper a week than student halls, and to me it was nicer. So yeah, house for me, definitely cheaper. I know my friends who were at university said it was cheaper too. There's just a few extra little costs involved in living in a house that you haven't experienced in a hall, but as long as you're prepared and you've got it sorted beforehand, you should be good, and it usually is cheaper. Lulia, probably said that wrong, I'm really sorry, has asked, when should you start looking for a house? So it differs. Usually around November people start to panic, which I think is super early, because especially if you're in first year and you only got there in September, you've only had September, October, November, 3 months to make some friends. Then you've got to go make a decision about what house you want to live in for the next year and who you want to live with. November is pretty early. A lot of people do that because they're worried that the good houses will go quite fast, but there's always another house available. There's always spare student houses in cities. There's usually more houses than they actually have students, so don't stress too much if you haven't found your house at that time. Don't get sucked into the pressure of trying to find a house before Christmas. I'd say early January, February, then start thinking about it. Have a chat with the people you want to live with, see what kind of options you've got, and then go from there. There's a lot of people that can help you out. The university will often have like a accommodation service that will help you find a landlord suitable for you. There's always people to ask, and the student letting agents are actually really, really helpful anyway. So even if they don't have a house, they'll put you onto someone who does. So don't worry about it too much. Try not to stress. If you haven't found that perfect group of friends, don't worry, there'll always be a room or a house somewhere that will take you in, and it will be nice because they're generally, well, they've got to be nice. Regulations mean they have to be nice, so don't worry about it too much. And the final question from G is, what do you do to get away from your housemates if they're getting on your nerves? This one made me giggle a little bit, not gonna lie. So second year was a little bit more stressful in terms of like our friendship groups. We didn't know each other as well as we thought we did, and there was a little bit of friction sometimes, and my way of getting away from them was either very simply going in my room and closing the door, because that's a telltale sign of do not disturb. Generally as well, they wouldn't actually realise I was in the house, so they wouldn't bother me because they didn't realise I was there. Or I would go to my course mate's house and I'd hang out there loads. I was basically their 5th housemate in second year because I used to just go to theirs because I really enjoyed their company, and it was a nice kind of change of environment and a way to get away from my housemates. In terms of third year, if they were getting on my nerves, they didn't really get on my nerves. I think by third year I'd got myself a group of friends that I knew and trusted, and I could tell them if they were winding me up and it wouldn't offend anyone. But if I got to the point where I was done being sociable, because I am a very antisocial person, again, I'd go in my room, close the door, and they probably wouldn't know I was there. Or I would just go out, go for a drive, go for a walk. So that was the final question. Again, let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. I'll reply to them. Let's help each other out in the comments. Let's have a little community discussion. But I really, really hope this video has helped ease your nerves a little bit. If it did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your pals, and I'll see you very, very soon for another one. Bye!